Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and today we are going to be doing like a part 4, I guess, technically, to this little mini series that, well, I guess it's not even going to be a mini series anymore. It's going to be a big series because you guys love it. L-O-V-E it. All right. So we're going to be doing all kinds of different vehicles for every budget. Today it's going to be hatchbacks, and the way this video works, in case you're new here, is first we start at $25,000 and I give you one hatchback under 25K. Then I give you one under 20, 15, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and $1,000. Obviously, the $2,000 and $1,000 cars are usually going to be absolute hoopties, and I don't really recommend buying them, but they're there if you need them. We've already done coupes, sedans, and JDM cars before, and this is obviously hatchbacks. So let me know what other kind of cars you'd like to see. I'm thinking American cars, SUVs, trucks, stuff like that. And if I sound a little weird today, like if I sound like I have a lisp or something, it's because I have a canker sore right here. And so I have to like kind of talk with my lip up like this a little bit sometimes because it hurts really bad. So that's just a little disclaimer. I just wanted to get that out of the way in case anybody's like, why does Mark sound like he's an idiot today? That's why. That's why I sound like that. But either way, let's get right into the video for the first hatchback for less than $25,000. For less than 25K, I believe that the Mercedes GLA 45 AMG is a pretty darn good option. These things are pretty underrated in my opinion. I've only seen a couple people really talk about them before in the past, and that's honestly mind-blowing because Euro cars are getting really popular lately. They're starting to kind of take off, and I really haven't heard anybody talk about them. They come with a 2-liter turbo inline 4, making 370 horsepower, and it's all-wheel drive. That is obviously the most horsepower on this list, but it's also the most expensive car on this list, but it's also probably the most luxurious on this list, but it's also probably one of the more unreliable cars on this list. So there's a lot of, questions that you need to ask yourself before going and picking one of these up. Are you more about the performance and just like the bouginess of it, or is this going to be a daily driver? Because if it's going to be a daily driver, maybe not the best idea, but if you just want a nice, awesome little hatchback, it's a pretty awesome hatchback. For less than $20,000, I believe that the Hyundai Veloster N, which stands for nope, no siree, is a pretty good option. I like the Velosters. A lot of people don't like the Velosters. They say they look a little ugly. I thought that at first, if I'm being honest. When I first saw the Velosters, I also thought they were ugly, but they definitely grew on me. They look pretty sexy nowadays. They come with a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, making 275 horses, and it's front-wheel drive. Very questionable. There's a lot of the high horsepower hatchbacks for around the $20,000 mark are all-wheel drive, so it's questionable that they kept it front wheel, but it's a very good car. A lot of people like to say that it's faster than the Civic Type Rs around the Nürburgring. Don't know where they got that from because it's just not true. It's Type R Civics are still the absolute kings of the hatchback game. But the Veloster N is giving them a run for its money, and it's pretty cool to just see like a Hyundai be cool finally. For less than $15,000, let's go to the wonderful world of Volkswagen. Every Volkswagen in the world is pretty much a hatchback, but I'm going to be focusing on the GTI MK7. For 15K, a Mark 7 GTI is an absolute bargain deal, by the way. These cars are pretty new. Like, they're like 2018 cars, and you're buying them for 15K already. Thank God for Volkswagen's depreciation curves. It comes with a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, making 220 horsepower, and it's front-wheel drive. Very low horsepower for the amount of money you're paying. The next 5 cars, all the way down to 7K, have more horsepower than this car, which is pretty crazy if you really think about it. But you don't really pay for horsepower when you're buying a GTI. You pay for the combination. You get a decent number of horsepower, a highly tunable engine, a very reliable engine, a very well-handling car, very nice interior. It's just a really well-rounded package, whereas the other cars don't really have all that stuff going for it. It just has the speed. So that's why the Mark 7 GTI is still worth 15K. For less than $10,000, finally into the kind of somewhat affordable range, it is the Ford Focus ST. Not the RS, sadly. I was going to do the RS for under 25K, but they're still like $30,000. It's mind-blowing how the RS has managed to stay above the rest of the pack. The ST, though, is still a very good option. It comes with a 2.3-liter turbocharged inline-4, making 252 horsepower, and it's front-wheel drive. Very decent horsepower number, more than the Mark 7 GTI. But again, the Focus ST suffers in the way of its interior just isn't that great. Everybody that's ever driven a Focus ST has said the interior is very outdated, and that makes sense. It's a hatchback. It's a pretty cheap hatchback, and it's a sporty hatchback. They didn't really care about the interior, so if you're looking for interior and like comfortability while driving your, hatchback around, not the Focus ST, not for you. But performance, hello Ford, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? For less than $9,000, we are going to be communicating over the Mazdaspeed 3. I love the Mazdaspeed 3. It's probably my favorite hatchback ever built. And I absolutely think it's worth $9,000. If it was $15,000, I would still tell you to go buy one of these things. That's how much I love the Mazdaspeed 3. They're just so good. They come with a 2.5 liter turbocharged inline 4, making 263 horsepower. I'm starting to notice a little bit of a trend here. A lot of these hatchbacks are, you know, forced induction 4-cylinders, but that's okay because it just works, okay? The Speed 3 having more horsepower than both the Focus ST and the Mark 7 GTI just goes to show how amazing that car is. It also only comes in a manual, so you gotta be a man if you want to drive it. It looks incredible, looks absolutely beautiful, handles really well, has a pretty decent motor to make power out of. Everything about the Speed 3 just tickles my funny bone. For right under $8,000, a lot of people are not going to believe me when I say this, but yes, you can find a Subaru WRX hatchback. Now here's the thing, the WRX hatchback, when it came out, was pretty ugly, and it was also lower in horsepower than the facelifted version. You're only finding the ugly version. You're not finding the facelifted version for under 8K, but the ugly version is still pretty good. It comes with a 2-liter turbocharged flat 4, obviously, making 265 horsepower, going to all 4 wheels. That is good. That is good. Oof. I'm not even a big fan of Subaru. You guys know that. I usually kind of bash on Subaru, as a matter of fact, when I talk about them, but that is good. I gotta give credit where credit is due. Hello, Subi. That's a good thing. Now, here's the thing about Subi. Does have some issues that comes with it. A, the interior. Once again, if you're an interior guy, not for you. It's very basic interior. 2, the reliability. Yes, Subaru motors can be a little unreliable. Just take care of them, though, and you'll be all right. And 3, it's not for everyone. It really isn't. The WRXs are for a certain set of people, and you know if you're that kind of guy. For less than $7,000, I'm going to hit you with a little bit of a curveball out of left field with the Volvo C30. That doesn't even make any sense, I don't think. Curveball out of left field? I don't watch baseball, so if I said something stupid there, I'm sorry. But the Volvo C30 is so, like, underrated. A lot of people, like, hate this car. They say it's ugly. I disagree, man. I think it looks pretty good, as a matter of fact. I would drive a C30. I would. I wouldn't buy one. I'd drive one, though. It comes with a 2.5-liter turbocharged inline 5 because it's a Volvo and they do weird 5-cylinder things. And it makes 227 horsepower and it's front-wheel drive. Not a sports car. I want to make that very clear. These C30 Volvos are not super fast or anything like that. They're not really good at handling or anything like that. This is definitely more on the sides of like a daily driver kind of car, but you can make it fast. And the more important thing is it looks good. Lower it, put some nice wheels on it, make it look just incredible, and don't go too over the top, and just have a nice, reliable, safe, because it's Volvo, little hatchback. Right underneath the $6,000 hair mark is going to the wonderful Audi A3 2nd generation. To be honest, any Audi A3 is a pretty good hatchback if you can find one under like under $6,000, but the best one in my opinion is the 2nd generation. They don't look the best if I'm being 100% honest, but it kind of makes up for it in everything else. It comes with a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4 making 200 horsepower and it's all-wheel drive. But you know what is a sports car? And a lot of people probably don't think it is. The Mini Cooper S, buddy. That's right. The Mini Cooper S for less than $5,000 is an absolutely incredible deal, and I really don't know why people aren't picking these up. I'm just kidding. I do know why. They're unreliable. Okay? It's sad, but it's the truth. It comes with a 1.6-liter supercharged inline 4, making 190 horsepower in its front-wheel drive. Pretty decent horsepower, but it's in a very lightweight car, so that horsepower goes a lot farther. Now, the only, like I said before, they're unreliable, and the reason why that is because they're British. Every British car ever made is unreliable, so sadly, the Mini Cooper also falls in that category, and a lot of them blow up pretty easily. But if you can find one that's in good condition, been taken care of for less than 5K, and you can start taking care of it yourself, and you know what to do to take care of this car, it can last you a while, and it's going to be an absolute blast to drive. These things are like front-wheel drive Miatas. For less than $4,000, I cannot believe these cars are still under $4,000, but it is one of my favorite hatchbacks ever besides the Mazdaspeed 3, the Volkswagen GTI Mark IV. I got to drive a Mark IV, and maybe that's the reason why I love it so much. But that thing was just a missile. It was just locked on an actual go-kart. It was so good. Everything about it was good. It comes with a 1.8-liter turbocharged inline 4, making 180 horsepower in its front-wheel drive. However, that motor is kinda, notorious notorious for being able to be tuned, okay? It can make a lot more horsepower is what I'm trying to get at. This car, you just put a couple FBO and tune on it, and you're making 250 horsepower. Now, here's the thing. 250 may not seem like a lot, and it really isn't a lot, but the car is light. And so 250 is a lot. And it has all the space still. Still looks pretty good. It's still got Volkswagen reliability. Well, actually, it's 2000s Volkswagen reliability, so it's a little bit more questionable, but you know what I'm saying. And it's just a good car all around. For less than $3,000, we're getting into the territory where these cars are going to be a little bit more beat up, okay? You're going to have to sacrifice a couple of rust spots for these cars, but I think the best car under 3K, hatchback under 3K, is a Honda Civic 6th generation. Obviously, you're not buying a Type R Civic under $3,000, but the normal ones are still perfecto. It comes with a 1.6 liter inline 4, making a whopping 106 horsepower. Very fast, and it's front wheel drive. Obviously, I was kidding. This car is piss slow when it's bone stock. However, it's a Honda. And did you forget what makes Hondas so popular, friend? Oh, let me let you in on a little secret. It's something called VTEC, okay? And I don't even know if this car has VTEC, but it doesn't matter because it's a Honda. You slap any motor in it that does have VTEC for like $200, and you're cruising. They're also, once again, very lightweight. They're incredibly cheap, incredibly reliable, horrible interiors, so don't expect a lot out of that, obviously. But everything else is great about it. It's a nice car. This is definitely not for the guy that's looking for a daily driver, though. I'd recommend this if you're looking for something to turn into like a little bit of a project car. On the other end of the spectrum, the absolute perfect daily driver for under $2,000 is the Scion XB. This thing is the definition of a daily driver, and that's about it. And remember how I said before that the WRX takes a certain kind of person to want to own a WRX? Well, the XB takes like the XB was built for like one man and one man only. And if you're that man, you love it. If you're not that man, you hate it. It comes with a 2.4 liter inline 4, making 158 horsepower in its front wheel drive. However, the car is a little bit heavier, and it's definitely in no means necessary sporty at all. You're not going to turn this into a race car. Don't even try. Just buy it if you want something that you can drive from point A to point B and back and do it reliably. And if you want to, you can turn it into a little toaster on wheels and slam it on the ground and put some nice little wheels on it and make it look hilariously cool. It's like, it's got that, you know, thing to it where it's so bad that it's good. That's the Scion XB. Yes, it's hilariously ugly looking, but everything else about it around the car is good. Its price is good, its reliability is good, its gas mileage is good, its space is good, everything is good on it except for the looks. So if you make it, you know, jokingly cool, well, now you've got yourself a little bit of a bundle I'd like to purchase. Finally, for less than $1,000, you're not just probably, I would recommend saving up. But if you have only $1,000, I would recommend getting a Volkswagen new Beetle. Obviously, this is one of the only options you even have for under 1K. You could get something like a Hyundai Accent probably for less than $1,000, but I mean, who wants that? This is a car channel, okay? We do some kind of cool stuff here. And it comes with a 2 liter inline 4, making 115 horsepower in its front wheel drive. This car also does come with other options, but the one that you're most likely going to be able to find for less than 1K is the 2 liter inline 4. And it's just an all-around average car. Obviously, for less than 1K, this thing's gonna have at least 200,000 miles on it. Any car is, and it's gonna need some work most likely. So, like I said before, I would highly recommend saving up your money. Even if you want the Volkswagen new Beetle, that's fine. Just save up your money and buy a better new Beetle, okay? But either way, if you only have 1K, I guess here's a good option. Volkswagen new Beetle, good luck. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video of one hatchback for every budget out there. 25K to 1K. I don't know how to like say that part. It sounds so like what do I say? What's a good intro and outro to this video? Like, oh, we're gonna do one hatchback for every $1,000. Like, does that sound good? I don't know. It's hard to like grab people with this concept because it doesn't really make much sense unless like you know what I'm talking about when I'm already doing it. Like if you've watched one of the other ones and you know how it is, then it makes sense. But if you don't, it's like so confusing, I feel like. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I am gonna go now. Sorry, no long outro, no explaining outro because my it hurts. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das Vidania. Don't get canker sores. Have a nice night.